Okay, so the first topic I want to touch on is the NBA Finals. Right now, it's sitting at Phoenix Suns up 2-0 against the Milwaukee Bucks. I personally thought Milwaukee would get one of those games in Phoenix, but the way that Phoenix is playing, they're playing very fast, very efficient.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be tough because Milwaukee went down 2-0 to Brooklyn, but they were able to come back and win the series. But it's a different
Yeah.
series. So my first question is, do you have any hope of Milwaukee coming back?
Well, first thing I'll say is it's hard to make a comeback when the point guard on the Suns is out coaching your head coach. Uh, I mean, if you kind of take a look at what the Bucks are doing, right? Giannis is doing what Giannis is supposed to do.
Right.
I think the issue they're having is, well, number one, on defense, when Brick Lopez is in the game, he's standing at the 3-point line. I think second is, and this is something they have a bunch of very savvy defenders. Drew Holiday, PJ Tucker, Chris Middleton. They had a bunch of really savvy defenders on that team, but for whatever reason, Phoenix's ball movement and their ability to actually run a coherent offense, as opposed to what Milwaukee's doing, which is give the ball to Giannis and stand around.
Mm,
And if Chris Middleton isn't going, they basically don't have a shot. So, Chris Middleton, he's a little bit streaky. He's been pretty consistent in the playoffs, but he had, a pretty subpar game. Him and Drew Holiday. I mean, at that point, Giannis has no one else to really lean on. So it really comes down to not about containing Giannis, because I think the Suns' strategy is let Giannis do what he does. But, to a certain extent, he's kind of, it's hard to lock him up. You just want to try and slow him down, but you can lock up Drew Holiday. You can
mm.
lock up Chris Middleton. I mean, Chris Middleton, you can make the argument, Drew Holiday kind of locked himself up the last game. But these are guys that can be stopped. So, I was listening to what Shaq was saying the other day, and he was talking about the others. You can't really stop the main guy, but you can clamp down on the other guys. And I think you see what Phoenix is doing. They're choking up the other guys. And Giannis
Exactly.
and Giannis isn't a playmaker, right? He's not a guy that's going to get other guys involved. Giannis can get his, no problem. But who is who is the playmaker? Who is the distributor on the Bucks that gets their offense out of a stalemate when it's just Giannis at the top of the key and everyone's staring? There's
Well,
no
you
one
know what?
really there.
If you take a look at the stats, I mean, Giannis had 42, 12, and 4.
Yep.
Take a look at Brook Lopez, 8 and 9, Middleton,
Hmm.
11 and 8. Like they got to play better, man. Like, come on. I wouldn't blame Giannis for so far them being down. I mean, the first game he had 20 and 17. He comes back and scores 42 on a bad knee.
Hmm.
He's doing all he can. It's the others that have to step up.
Yeah. And the thing is,
11 points.
I don't think Giannis is catching any heat either. I think
No.
people are seeing what he is doing what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard several people say, Chris Middleton is really the guy on that team. No, he's not. That is
He's not.
enough with the nonsense. Chris Middleton is not the guy on that team. He's a good player, but I think what you're seeing is he's showing you why he's best suited as a number two. Because
Or number 3.
number three, because even as a number two guy, you shouldn't be having 11-point nights. You know what I mean? Like, and if your number one guy is having nights like that, then your team has no chance. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so hey man, it's starting to look like the main difference is Phoenix has someone on the floor that can orchestrate an offense. So when they go into lulls, they don't dig themselves deeper than they need to be doing. With Chris Paul orchestrating that offense with the Bucks, let's say Giannis isn't on the floor. Who are you afraid of? Who you got to worry
Nobody.
about?
The guy that should orchestrate the offense for Milwaukee should be Drew Holiday, but I don't know. Like he doesn't play aggressive enough. When he plays aggressive, like in Game 5 and Game 6 against Atlanta, they were the better team. They were a good team. But I
Yeah.
think he is more important than Middleton, in my opinion. He needs to play more aggressive.
Yeah, look, Drew Holiday is a really good role player. Like, he's a very talented player. He's, you know, all NBA caliber defensively, but offensively, he gives you enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's not really a guy like, hey, Drew, get the offense going. Like, he's talented, but that's not really his bread and butter. That's supposed to be Chris Middleton's bread and butter. He's just a good defender and just a pure scorer. But if you look at the Bucks, ball distribution, who is their main person in terms of ball distribution, getting other people involved? It's not really there. It's not really there. So, it looks like, I think this is going to be a gentleman's sweep. The Bucks will get one just off the strength, but I think the Suns got it.
Yeah, Bridges. Enough about the Bucks. About the Suns, you got Bridges with 27 and 7 rebounds. You got Ayton with a double. Booker got 31. Chris Paul got 23 and 8. Like, they play balance. They play very balanced, and I didn't think that they were this good. Honestly, didn't think. I thought they would lose against Denver, even without Jamal Murray. But they're kind of swaying me. This team is really good, and I think that they can keep going. Unfortunately, my view has changed. I don't think Milwaukee can come back and win this series. I see it maybe going 5, maybe 6, maybe, but I don't think they can win. There's no way that Phoenix is losing 4 out of the next 5 games.
That's hard, especially when you got, the main difference is Phoenix has a guy that can get you 40 points. They got a guy that can get you 20. They got 2 guys that can get you 40 points. They got a guy that can get you 20 assists. And they got a guy that can get you 20 rebounds in the game. The Bucks just don't have that. And that's what it's coming down to. The Bucks just don't have that. If you stop Booker, you still got CP3 and you still got Ayton and you still got them role players. You got Jay Crowder and Bridges and Cam Payton, Cam Johnson. You got a lot of guys who know their role and play their role perfectly. Like, this team, I think from an organizational standpoint and looking at this team, they got the young kid, they got the young players, they got role players that bought into their role, they got the superstars, they got the guys right underneath the superstars, and they got a coach that's tuned in with the team. Because Monty Williams used to coach Chris Paul back in New Orleans. So I think when you look at Phoenix, they have all the right pieces for the right job, and they were able to make it happen. Right? They don't necessarily have all the biggest names. They don't have all the amazing players in the world. They don't have all the veterans in the world, but they got the right people for the right job, and it all came together. It's like gumbo. It's like gumbo that came together, and it's working. It just came together. So. And it's hard because a lot of times, when you're trying to, build a team like that, if you're one piece off, the whole thing falls apart. But they got all the pieces. They got all.
Yeah, Monty's the perfect coach. Yeah, for that team.
Yeah. It's almost like, kind of like back in the day when it was Shaq and D Wade in Miami, where Shaq is like the obvious, the headline of the superstar, but you got this young boy, Dwayne Wade, who's not to be played with. And when you look at the Suns, you got Chris Paul, who's the orchestrator, who is the focus. But you got this young boy, Devin Booker, out here who's not to play with. And then you max that up with all the role players. I mean, Jay Crowder is literally a professional role player. He is the role player's role player. It's not a secret that he ends up on winning teams wherever he goes, or winning teams want him wherever he is. So, hey man, it all came together at the right time, man. And it's been like that all season for the Phoenix, man. They've been running through the league all year. So this really shouldn't be a surprise.
Imagine that team. They haven't made the playoffs since 2010. They've been one of the worst teams in the league, for that stretch. They come into the bubble and win 8 games in a row. They just missed the playoffs and then come back and make it to the finals and get the number 2 seed in the West. That's
Yep.
amazing. That is amazing. Yeah.
Nah for the Bay. Nah for the Bay. We don't care what you said. Nah for the Bay. Nah for the Bay. Nah for the Bay. We ain't hearing what you say. Nah for the Bay. Fire!